I'm Anne, and today I'm going to show you how to prep the cornerstones and sashings for this throw size quilt that has a 9-inch blocks in it. So in all, we're going to need 20 of these cornerstones, and we'll need 31 sashing rectangles. And I do want to say here, if you're new to quilting and these are kind of daunting to you, then don't let those deter you from making a quilt top. Instead, just cut 3.5-inch squares. Those would look cute as well, just as much as the 9 patches. And just do that instead, and then continue on building your quilt top. The PDF is linked below that explains all of this. You can do that without watching this video, but I did do these steps anyhow, so I thought I might as well make a video demonstrating. So let's go to the cutting table and start cutting these strips up. First, we're going to cut 1.5-inch strips with the fabric using the instructions in the PDF. Sew the first 2 strips together for each strip set and stitch with a scant 1/4-inch seam. Take your time here, and if you're out of practice, just measure your 1/4-inch seam before sewing the entire strip. That way you can adjust before you get too invested. Then take it to the iron and press to the dark side. And then stitch the 3rd strip on. Then take it back to the iron and press again to the dark side. So once you have all your strip sets assembled, you'll want to cut them down to make the rows of these 9 patches. Cut 1.5-inch pieces from your strip sets. Then take those to the machine and sew your 9 patches together. The seams from one row to the next will be going opposite directions. Take advantage of that by butting them up against each other or nesting them to help you align the intersections between your black and your white squares. Press both seams to the dark squares. And finally, trim down to 3.5-inch squares as needed. Now, I want to say here that some of my 9 patches look pretty good. Others are pretty wonky and sad. By now, these are small 1-inch pieces, and I'm not going to fret over it. For me, trying for perfection takes all the fun out of it, and I learned the hard way over and over. Luckily, today I remembered this. So, in a nutshell, do what's comfortable for you without making it, unfun. So I've got the cornerstones all finished, and I've cut all of the sashing pieces. There's 31 of them, and they're 3.5 inches by 9.5 inches. And I've taken the blocks off the design wall, and next I'm going to sew the right sashings, the bottom sashings, and the bottom right cornerstones to each of these blocks we've done so far. And for each week after this, I'll do the same to each block we make as the final step of making that block. I only am going to put the right and the bottom sashings and cornerstones on because when these are done, all 12 blocks, I want to be able to rearrange them and get a nice balance. And so once that's done, then I'll sew on the top and the left cornerstones and sashings, and then finally put the 2 borders on. So I'll see you with the machine to sew these together. I've got our blocks, sashings, and cornerstones, and I'm going to take each block and put a sashing strip on the right side, and I'm going to stitch those on with a slightly scant 1/4 inch as per usual. I can see my points of this block through this white sashing, but if you can't, you may want to flip it over and sew these seams on from the back side where you can see the intersection of the seam, and you can head for that with your stitching. Okay, I'm going to take these to the iron and I'm going to press them, and I'm debating on which way. I'm going to take the cornerstones over there and we'll take a quick peek and see if I can figure out the best way. Right, that makes sense. I'll press away from the block and towards the sashing on the cornerstones. Okay, I got it figured out. All right, so we'll set this seam. We're going to put these blocks on hold for a moment, and we're going to take the bottom sashing strips and we're going to sew the 9 patches onto the end of these. And I forgot to turn the light on in that first clip, and I can't really go back without ripping out seams. So excuse me, but the lighting's going to change drastically. There, now I can see. That's one thing that's really nice about these camera lights is my eyesight's so poor that they really, really help me. Okay. And you can pin these if you like. It definitely helps when I do. I just too lazy maybe. Okay, to the iron. So remember we pressed our right side sashing away from the block toward the sashing. And so we want these to be pressed the other direction, which is toward the sashing. So our sashing on the bottom is going to go right sides together with the bottom of the block. And I'm going to scooch these over. Okay. So our seams are going opposite directions as you see here. And so I'm just going to slide them together. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a pin in there. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, back to the iron. Well, that's a bummer. I didn't press record and I missed all the pressing after that first one. I talked about it a lot. It's on audio, but ta-da, they're all pressed. God. Okay, so we're all caught up in terms of sashing and cornerstones, and now each time I do a new block, I'll just put 2 sashings and a cornerstone, just like we did here. And yeah, we'll just keep going. I have a new block picked out, so I will bring that to you in a couple days.